Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavathaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhir Yajatraha Sthirairangai Shuštuvagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti na Starkshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As conscious beings, we live a life on this earth, in this samsara, which can be described as a series of experiences. It's one experience, followed by another experience, followed by yet another experience, continues all the way. From the time a child is born to the time the body gives up. That is life. How do we gain experience? What is this experience? There has to be an experiencer. Which means, as far as this Jagat is concerned, the experiencer we identify with, which is the Sharira. That experiencer cannot experience anything without objects of experience. What does he experience? Physical objects, subtle objects, tangible and intangible objects. We experience all of these repeatedly. With the physical body, the gross Sharira, Sthula Sharira, we experience physical things. Pain, pleasure, all of this based on senses. That physical body cannot exist, cannot be active, cannot experience anything without the subtle body. Without the subtle body, that physical body, we all know, is jada. We see this so many times. What we call death is not really the death of the physical body. After what we call death, the body goes on deteriorating because it is the process of nature. Like anything else, anything in the Jagat keeps on transforming eventually into the Panchabhutas. Goes back into the earth, comes up again in some form. Swami G used to say, the katrika you eat today, maybe your great-great-great-grandfather, reappears in some form. Because it goes back to the Panchabhutas, and those Panchabhutas reassemble in another form. So that physical Sharira cannot experience anything without the presence of the Sukshma Sharira. No experience can take place. And like I said, no experience can take place without objects of experience. If we understand that Ishvara or the law of karma in the form of Ishvara creates this Sthula and Sukshma Sharira, also creates the objects of experience. Now, within the limited possibility in terms of time and in terms of space, and in terms of certain other factors, the Sharira can only experience a limited portion of what is available to be experienced. We living in most parts of India will never experience snow. And we look at people doing ice skating or skiing and say, wow, how nice it will be. And that fellow there looks at us and says, kya baat hai? Look at the wonderful sun they have. Because we cannot experience everything. When a jiva acquires a sharira and an appropriate sukshma sharira for that, it is meant to undergo certain experiences for which only that sharira in that place, in that time can experience. I cannot say, I want to experience what my great-great-grandfather experienced, because at that time was different. Even if it is the same place, places change. I cannot say I want to experience what my great-great-grand descendants will experience 300 years from today. I don't know. They may be experiencing nuclear war. Certainly you don't want to experience that. But you have only a limited experience because we have a limited physical sharira and a limited appropriate sukshma sharira. And we have access only to a limited number and type of objects of experience. Living in Africa, you experience very hot weather. Living in Greenland, you experience extremely cold weather. But you also experience northern light. You know what northern light is, no? Wonderful natural phenomena where you see green, like we see rainbow. They have this thing called northern lights. Different experiences. So when we are in the state of Jagra, the waking state, I have accessible to me in the form of this physical body and in the form of this Sukshma Sharira that must enliven the physical body, both of which are caused by the Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira is only Ajnana. Without the Ajnana, there is no need for a Sukshma Sharira or a Sthula Sharira. And in the waking state, when I have absolute access to all three, but predominantly my Sthula Sharira, I have certain limited possibilities of experience. Ishvara Shrishtam. And to that Sharira, Ishvara has also provided objects of experience. So we experience this, something once, something else, something else. We experience pain, we experience pleasure, we experience all kinds of sense meeting its own sense objects. So in the waking state, that Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira, because of the presence of the Chaitanyam in some form, making this conscious, undergoes various experiences. This is what we call karma phala. I experience these because of karma done earlier, because of which I have been given a certain sharira to be in a certain place at a certain time. Why was I not given a bigger sharira? Why was I not given a sharira with a deep voice? Why was I not given a sense of music? Thank God, at least you've been given a sense to enjoy music. There are many who are tone deaf. One of the Swamis, who is a very good singer, was enjoying some singing he was doing. At the end of it, I said, Swami G, I love the way you sing these things, mixing up different ragas. So he said, yes, some people have been given that capacity. But he said, thank God, there are many like you who have been given the capacity to appreciate. It's also important. So he said, there are some tansens, but those tansens are used without people's consent. So it's been given. Khan is here in Hindi. Kansen is the greatest, one of the greatest musicians. So this, what we call life, is a series of experiences. In the waking state, because we are human, we have also been given one additional faculty. The faculty to create more karma. As it is, we have a whole bank of karma sitting there. And unless we can recognize the truth of the self, those karma which are sitting there are going to keep on playing out. Janma after janma after janma after janma. Birth, experiences, death. Birth, experiences, death. That's all going to happen. But because you have taken the form of a human sharira with human sukshma sharira to it, we have the capacity to create more karma. We also are the only ones who have the capacity to completely get out of this. Simply through vichara and understanding. Every other form of conscious being has to live through all this and take another janma, and another janma, and another janma, and another janma. Exactly the way you and I have done for God knows how many of them. From that infinite karma that is lying in our account in Sanchita karma, a certain portion is allocated for the janma. And appropriate sharira is given. That sharira may be there to experience those karma phalas. So sharira is there. And there are also the objects of experience given. All Ishvara given. Therefore, we undergo those experiences. Some very nice, because the karma we did earlier was punya karma, and some not so nice. All right, we keep exhausting them. Simultaneously, because we have been given the capacity to inquire and find the truth of the self, we can also actually take decisions using our own will. Both are will-based. One will-based says, I want to know. I understand there has to be something more. This cannot be it. And therefore, all the will that's required to go towards trying to find the answer. And the other is all the karma that you do, will-based. This is within the samsara in the Jagrat Avastha. Everything is given, I experienced. I've also been given certain choices. I have no choice in the fact that I'm going to undergo certain experiences. Some good, some not so pleasant. But I've also been given the choice to either suffer for it or not suffer for it. The experience will be there. You created it yourself. This is the story of each one of a human being in the waking hours. Like I said, you cannot undergo all the experience in the world. They are infinite, both in terms of the capacity to experience because of Sharira and because of availability of the objects of experience, accessibility to the object of experience. Only a limited number and type of experiences can be gained. There are, however, some experiences which also you have to undergo, for which this Sharira is not appropriate. Even within this lifetime, if we have to undergo experiences which some other beings undergo, you don't have the appropriate sharira. Like I said, you don't have the sharira of a polar bear. You don't undergo experiences of being in the snow, playing around in the snow. Your sharira at that time T and that place P is what they are. But there are some more experiences you have to go through. Your karma is there, which is allocated for the janma. You have to undergo those experiences. How do you do that? You have limited access to limited amount of objects for experience. You have a limited capacity of the sharira to experience. So you have another possibility where you create your own jagat. And you create this jagat not out of your will. And because you don't create this jagat without your will, there is no karma. But you create this jagat with its own objects of experience, with a sharira that you give to yourself. You will give a time and a space that you give to yourself so that you can create experiences which you cannot have in your waking state. I know that you can go ice skating on a frozen lake. I neither know how to skate, nor do I have access to a frozen lake to skate on. But I know it there. I've seen it on TV. I know such a thing exists. And I look at those people skating. Yeah. I wish I could do that. Don't worry, you can. You create your own jagat. You create your own jagat where you can go through different kind of experiences. In the waking state, because of what Ishvara has created for you, this sharira and the objects of experience, you undergo varieties of experience, all limited. Sri Annapanadi Vichitra Bhogaihi. Multiple experiences where every sense has an opportunity to interact with a sense object appropriate to that sense. But all this bhoga and accepting that I am experiencing these is because of only one condition. That Atma, that individual, Mayaya Parimohita Atma. Otherwise, where is the Sharira, where is the experience? But because I have been misled, I have misled myself. That Maya Parimohita Atma, I identify with this particular Sthula Sukshma Sharira. And I experience the world outside which has been created for me by Ishvara. Bahish Prajnaha, we saw in Mandukya Upanishad. Awareness of the outside, and therefore awareness of all the objects that are accessible to me, and therefore the experiences that I gain in my waking state. Variety of experience. But still limited to a very small type and number. There are other experiences. What do I do? Without any possibility of not undergoing those experiences, I cannot say I will not undergo the experience, because your dream, you have no control over. So you create a whole dream jagat, prapancham, in which you create your own time, you create your own space, you create your own objects of experience. That skating ring was not accessible to you in the waking state. But that is an experience you have to go through. Skating on a frozen lake and suddenly finding that the lake under your foot cracks and you fall into the water. All those experiences you have to go through, no? I live in India, sir. Where is the frozen lake here? It doesn't matter. You can dream. You create your own frozen lake. You create your own mountains. You create your own rivers. You create your own people. All the objects that you need in this Sharira to experience, you create. A dream which lasts maybe 2 seconds of waking time, you create, in which you create perhaps many days. A completely new world with a completely new time frame. A dream which takes place in a minute corner of the manas. You create mountains, rivers, people, feeling, thoughts, pleasure and pain. You create everything. Without possibility of selecting what you want. Unfulfilled desires which have been carrying over, vasanas, that also get projected. So in the waking state, you have objects experience, you have an experiencer in the form of Sukha Sharira, with whom I identify myself, and therefore I have a series of experiences. In the state of Swapna, I create my own Sharira, I create my own objects of experience, and I undergo experience. So you can tell Bhagavan, hey, you think you created the rivers, mountains, everything else? I can also do that. Yes, I only gave you the capacity. I gave you the capacity without any control over it. You create. Swamayaya kalpita jivaloki. You have your own Maya. This is Maya. Ma, sa, ma, ya Maya. That ma is what ma is not there, it's negation. Maya is that which creates as though something is there which is not there. Surya was asking, you know, Maya Panchakam, the tagline in that. Maya's capacity to create something which is not there, as though, make you experience aghatita ghatita. That which is not, didn't happen at all. You think it's happening. That is Maya. And then you make certain assumptions based on your observation on that. Like the magician who seems to have unbelievable capacity. He is able to see everywhere behind his back. That illusion that Maya creates. The Ma Ya Maya, iti Maya. That which does not exist, Maya makes it appear as though it exists. So the whole world is real to me because Maya says it's real. And what Maya creates as though, which doesn't exist, is called Mithya. You understand what is Mithya? The Sharira, Sthula, Sukshma Sharira, the objects of experience have been given to me by Ishvara in the form of karma phala and the experiences themselves. All of them appear to be real. And that I must credit to Maya. That doesn't sound right. Everything is real. That is our experience. Everything is real. In our waking state, a mountain that I see ahead is real. But that is only in your waking state. What happens when you create your own prapancha? That mountain in that swapna is real. In the swapna. That pain that you undergo in the swapna, without any control, you have to undergo that pain or the sorrow, is real only as long as the dream is there. Fortunately, that dream, although it looks like it is over many hours or many days or many months, is only 2 or 3 seconds in the waking time. And when that goes, you get up and say, thank God, it was only a dream. What is the difference? That is my Shrishti with the power given to me by Ishvara. This is Ishvara Shrishti with the same Maya. Why can't this also be like that? Can what looks so real to me in my waking hours, can it also be exactly the way it looked real to me inside the dream? Do I need somebody to pinch me and wake me up? There I created the objects, I created the experience. Here Ishvara created the object, and I have to experience them through because of my own karma phala. There also its own karma phala. There is no further karma created there. Here you have the capacity to create the karma and also undergo bhoktatva. Why has this special power been given? To create karma. The ability to take decisions, the ability to exercise your will. There's only one possible objective. Because you will have access to the possibility of gaining that knowledge, which is the only way you can recognize the truth and get rid of this repeated birth and death, birth and death, birth and death conundrum. So we have this Jagrat Avastha and Swapna Avastha and also Sushupti Avastha. Very beautifully captured in just 2 verses. Sa eva maya parimohitatma. Can you put that on?
Yes, Swami Ji. Sa eva maya parimohitatma
Shariramastaya karoti sarvam.
Shariramādhāya karoti sarvam.
Priyannapanadi vichitra bhogaihi.
Priyannapānādi vichitra bhogaihi.
Sa eva jagrat paritriptimeti.
Sa eva jagrat paritriptimeti.
Swapne sajiva sukha dukkha bhokta.
Swapne sajiva sukha dukkha bhokta.
Swamayaya kalpita jiva loke.
Swamayaya kalpita jiva loke.
Sushupti kale sakale viline.
Sushupti kale sakale viline.
Tamo vibhutas sukharupameti.
Tamo vibhutas sukharupameti.
That's 2 verses. I undergo experiences in the waking state. These experiences confirm to me that I am a mortal. These experiences confirm to me that I am limited. These experiences confirm to me that there are many. These experiences confirm to me that I am subject to pleasure and pain. I create the same kind of experiences because I create the objects of experience in Swapna Avastha also. Is there any experience in deep sleep? Here, what did it say? Swapna, the jiva, the same jiva. We start being saeva, that jiva itself, the jivatma. Maya parimohitatma did all that. Identification with the body and all the actions that you do, all the enjoyments, triyannapana, the vichitra bhogaihi. In the Jagrat Avastha, paritriptam eti, gains certain types of tripti. Not all types of tripti. But in this Swapna, he creates his own Jagat. Swapne sajiva, the same jiva, who is now a sukha dukkha bhokta. That also comes from your own prarabdha. Certain experiences that you cannot undergo with this sthula shukshma sharira in the Jagrat Avastha, you undergo in the Swapna Avastha. How? Swamayaya kalpita jivaloka. In the jivaloka which you create yourself. You have Maya is fantastic. It has Shakti Dvayam. An Avarana Shakti and a Vikshepa Shakti. You know that. In the Jagrat Avastha, what Maya does is, through the Avarana Shakti, covers our knowledge. So I don't. But I You saw earlier, one of my biggest driving forces is I want to know. If I don't know, because Maya through its Avarana Shakti has covered my possibility of knowledge, but I still need to have something attached to it. Maya uses its Vikshepa Shakti to needle us to project something else. And that projection universally is I am this Sharira. This Sharira I am is true. But it makes us say, I am this Sharira. In the Swapna Avastha, I have only a Vikshepa Shakti. I create a whole Jagat and undergo all kinds of experience. Swapne sajiva sukha dukkha bhog, both sukha and dukkha. Like I said, I have always felt that skating, ice skating on a frozen lake must be the greatest form of sukha. So in the Swapna, I create my own lake. I create my own jiva, which goes and skates on the lake. Sukha. Till the ice cracks and fall inside, dukkha. I create them. I have to experience those. Sukha dukkha bhokta swamayaya kalpita jiva loke. In this loka that you create, right? Your own Shakti that's been given to you. Where we said in the Jagat Avastha, so Bahish Prajna, you are aware of the external world. In the Swapna Avastha, you are not. So you don't create your own internal world. Antaprajna. You create your own objects of experience. And you enjoy those experiences. Sukha dukkha bhokta. What happens in deep sleep? Jagrat, you can't go to Swapna. Why? Because for you to create your own Jagat, you have to be dead to this Jagat. To this place, this time, this experience, you have to be dead to. You take only the data from here. And you project a completely new Jagat, which you cannot do as long as you have awareness of this Jagat. Therefore, from a Jagrat Avastha, you cannot go to Swapna Avastha. You can at best daydream. So what happened? From the Jagrat Avastha, you go to only Shushupti Avastha, deep sleep. Sometimes you can't even go there. And then you struggle, keep tossing up and down, here and there, here and there. And people really suffer. Not only because we need that rest, but also because that is the only state when we experience Ananda without recourse to an external object. In Jagat Avastha, our Ananda or Dukkha comes because of association with objects of experience created for you already. In Swapna Avastha, you create a new you, and that new you undergoes experiences in connection with the objects of experience you create. Antaprajna. In deep sleep, there is no subject-object. Everything is laya. I neither have the experiencer nor the object of experience. Eka. There's only one. Prajnana. One single mass. No differentiation. Undifferentiated. All the time Shastra has been telling us that undifferentiated is the truth. He Saumya idamagra only Satyam Asit. That Satyam is undifferentiated Satyam. That Satyam is I. Everything else is differentiated, variegated. In the Sushupti Sthana, there is no subject object. There is no Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. So, Sushupti Kale Sakale Viline, everything, both the experiencer and the experience are Viline, or resolved. Resolved into what we have been trying desperately to understand, Karana Sharira. They are all there in unmanifest form. Sushuptikale Sakale Viline, and everything is Vilina. There is no capacity to know anything. There is only tamas. Tamasa abhibhuta. Overwhelmed by tamas. All differences have been removed. No subject, no object, no experiencer, no objects of experience, therefore no experiences. That subject-object non-differentiation is the state of Ananda. But because it is tamasa abhibhuta sanya, in the deep sleep, I cannot recognize. You know, even in the waking state, occasionally, we experience the state. When you see something really beautiful, the sunrise, at the moment when you are seeing that sunrise, there is nothing else in the mind. Everything is gone. You and that object of experience have merged for that period. You experience Ananda. You experience your natural state in a small time frame, in a small way. Even in Jagrata Avastha, it is possible. In fact, because it is possible, therefore when Shastra says, listen, you are Ananda Swarupa, you don't need subject-object differentiation to gain any experience of Ananda. It seems possible because we undergo these small moments where there is no subject-object differentiation. At that instant, you are undifferentiated. You recognize undifferentiated. In deep sleep, you are undifferentiated, but you don't recognize. That Ananda is there, no experience. But because that Ananda is there, I get up the next day, and we'll also see why we get up the next day. And I Say, I slept very well. That you say when you wake up on the next morning. You don't say that in deep sleep. Sushuptikale sakale viline tamo vibhutas sukharupameti. You are Sukharupa, Anandaswarupa. Only I don't know. That's why sometimes, when you see people whose Sharira gives up in sleep, you envy them. They were in the state of Ananda and then they continued from there. Sushuptikale sakale vilini. Everything which are needed, all those things are needed for an experience to take place, have all been resolved. But there's something still remains. Resolved where? Into the Karana Sharira. And because it is resolved into the Karana Sharira, that Ajnanam, it is not as if it is disappeared. It is there in unmanifest form in the Karana Sharira. In the Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, this state is called Prajna. Prajna can mean both total knowledge and total ignorance. Both can be interpreted from Prajna. Because there is, this Ananda Swarupa is there, but there is total ignorance. And that samashti of this prajna is what is called Ishvara. Because there is no tamas. There is only prajna in the form of all knowledge, Ishvara. In the individual case, that prajna is total ignorance, covered by a complete blanket of tamas. So I don't know. I am actually Ananda Swarupa, but I don't know I'm Ananda Swarupa. So in all these three states, I am experiencing. In the waking state, I experience because there is objects of experience and there is the senses given to me in the form of Sthula Sukshma Sharira, and therefore the interaction takes place and experiences take place. In the Swapna Avastha, I create my own. I interact with the objects of experience with the experiencer that I have created, the senses I've created, and there is the experience. In Shushupti Avastha, there is neither objects of experience nor the experiencer. It is a total state of either total ignorance or total ananda. Swami G, I've heard people say ignorance is bliss. Maybe that is where you are in. You stay ignorant and you think you are blissful. But this state of blissfulness cannot last. People are generally very reluctant to get out of bed in the morning. It's so nice. All through the night, I had lost myself, lost my individuality. Now if I wake up, I have to go back to the same problems. I have to go back to the same people I have to interact with. My prarabdha. Can I just sleep for some more time? But you yourself won't allow you to sleep. No, Swamiji, because sunrise happens, I have to get up. But these days you can completely darken the room. No sunlight penetrates into the room. But you can't. You cannot sleep. Hey, listen. You have experienced something in the waking hours till now. Undergone some experiences. Some karma phala has been exhausted. You have experienced something more in the swapna state. Some more karma phala exhausted. But my friend, you came with a whole bunch of karma phala to experience. You still have plenty of to go by. So you cannot say, I'm going to sleep forever. The sharira is required. It is unmanifest. You have to bring it back to manifestation because there's more karma phala to be exhausted. And once that happens, all the objects also become available for experience. You are compulsorily made to wake up, get out of that state of prajnana ghana, eka, undifferentiated state, so that you can go through more experiences. What kind of experiences? We will see tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om